maybe you guys aren't aware of it, but perhaps the greatest living scholar in the history of Indology, meaning the study of India, lives here. And he lectures here every Thursday night on a text which he is translating, which is the greatest literary accomplishment at least in the Tantric tradition, in all of its phases, Vaishnava, Buddhist, and Hindu. And I think Alexis probably would say it is the greatest achievement in the history of Sanskrit literature. And he lectures on it. He translates all week, and then he lectures on it on Thursday evenings. And, you know, everybody here is pretty much invited. So I go there, you know, I move in and out of town because I have some people I'm taking care of who are pretty unwell at the moment. Don't ask me why I do that. But the thing that surprises me every time I'm here and I'm in the lecture is how many people who live here or study here aren't there. And that sort of blows my mind. Because, well, maybe you'll think it's boring. But if you think it's boring, what that really means is that you haven't been doing your homework for the last 40 years. Because I sit with him and I feel like I am sitting in the company of Abhinavagupta himself. And the whole experience just consistently blows my mind. It blows my mind the elegance and the sophistication that Alexis is able to bring forth from Abhinavagupta, who is able to articulate, sort of to encompass, every dimension of experience into a framework which has as its basis, I mean, there are a lot of different words. The word I want to use is love. Has as its basis beauty, has as its basis joy, has as its basis an infinite capacity for giving that is never diminished by any effort at all, any activity at all. And the amazing thing about it all is that, first of all, Abhinavagupta through Alexis would say to us, every conceivable, every possible, not conceivable, every possible experience that can ever happen, anything that could ever happen in the entire universe is always present within us. And therefore, every possible knowledge which pre-exists in the entire universe is accessible from within us should we choose to do so, to access it. And even more amazing, the fundamental mechanism for accessing this unimaginable abundance is your breath. How crazy is that? I mean, the simplest demonstration of your aliveness, that you are alive. Long ago people noticed that if it's breathing, it's alive. If it's not, it ain't. The simplest demonstration of our aliveness is our breath. And cultivating, this is the trick, it takes time to cultivate our awareness of the breath within us, brings us to a place where we can experience a profound peace and a great depth of understanding about the nature of ourselves and the whole of experience, which is forever and infinitely an unbroken unity. Most people go through life fighting for what they want. And the few who get it, by some quirk of fate, are almost always disappointed. Because, there is so much more. There is so much deeper and richer and finer. So much more that is available within us that we cannot possibly conceive of and therefore can't want. Until we become awakened to this extraordinary, unimaginable possibility that is present within us and begin to become responsible for its cultivation, which is entirely an inner endeavor. It was a couple of weeks ago, I was in California, and I've been doing programs and teacher trainings with a woman named Sienna Sherman, who is an important yoga teacher from the Anusara movement, who, after the dissolution of Anusara, moved on to start doing her own programs all over the place. And Sienna came out and was pumping me for information about the goddess Tripura Sundari, the goddess of the Shri Chakra, which is a sort of the core sadhana that I teach and a course that I put online. So she wanted to know all about the story, because Sienna loves telling stories about goddesses, and there are a bunch of people these days who, in the yoga field, who do programs that are composed of stories about goddesses. I don't do stories about goddesses. First of all, if you want to do stories about goddesses, there are literally bazillions of them. And if we want to do stories about goddesses, I guess we have to do at least one or two stories about gods, of which there are also a bazillion. I think primarily, Sienna's audience is feminine, and they're a lot more interested in the divine feminine, and they have little even confidence that there's such a thing as the divine masculine. I can relate. But for me, relating to the form of the divine, or let's say an imagined form of the divine, is a very intermediate, low-level intermediate approach to spiritual growth. For me, the divine is the entire biosphere and the awareness that permeates it. The divine is the interconnectedness between the earth and the sun and the stars. All of which are a part of what makes life on earth happen. For me, the divine lives inside me, and it lives inside you, and my ritual practice is opening my heart to each of you and everybody else who presents themselves in front of me, and many people who don't, every single day. And making contact, at least for a moment, and in some sense respecting the connection that I have with everyone. Finding the flow and experiencing the simple and amazingly available good feeling that is possible between myself and everyone, and cultivating that flow to the degree that allows me to appreciate the uniqueness and the wonder in all of the diverse forms that humanity and all of life presents itself. Most importantly for me, if I have a deity, in the Tantric tradition, and for me personally, my deity would be my guru. And I continue to experience, even, 45 years or how many ever years it's been, 44 years since he passed away, I continue to experience a profound, really profound, sometimes even bringing tears to my eyes, connection of devotion and love and gratitude for all of the doors that he opened in my life, all of the miracles that he made available to me. And people today criticize gurus a lot, and they complain about teachers, this thing, that thing, blah, blah, blah. All of my teachers did everything everybody complains about. They did everything. They had sex, they had, Muktananda was a really interesting, complicated person. Everything was happening. Everything. And you know what? I saw all kinds of things. But principally, I saw more love and more kindness and more compassion and more generosity and more work and more beauty in my teachers than I have ever seen demonstrated anyplace else on the face of the earth. And the most important thing that we can possibly have when we have a teacher is we have the opportunity to see through this human form into, first of all, to experience a dissolution of our tensions because of the availability of an unconditional love that allows us further to see through the veils all the veils of this human body and this human mind into the extraordinary demonstration of an unimaginable possibility moving around on this planet that is completely interconnected in everything. I don't have much interest in goddesses because I live among them. I live among you. So why do I need to go visualizing? I can listen and speak and touch, and the beauty that endures in our lives in the form of our connectedness and our shared everything. And cultivating that beauty dissolves the veil, removes the tension, releases us from all of the disappointments of our ancestors to transcend every karmic pattern and become simply established in the infinite present, which is astonishingly beautiful. The only thing you really need to ever figure out is how to get your heart open and keep it open no matter what kind of crap you are called upon to digest. And, sort of the mixed thing about it all is the bigger your heart gets, the more crap you'll have to digest. And even that, too, is extraordinary beauty. We are connected, personally connected, through our teachers and their teachers and their teachers to, energies, to knowledge, to profoundly refined and evolved spiritual beings that have existed, since the beginning of time and from around the entire earth. And this nourishment is available to us for the purpose of, releasing tensions and allowing our creative energy to flow. Flowing feels divine, and expanding that divinity to its limit releases us from everything. And we're free. So stop screwing around and get serious about what you're doing here, because an opportunity like this comes around about once every 20 or 30,000 years. And take advantage of all the nourishment and all the resources that are around you and grow with it. It's not rocket science, it's just work. Unfortunately, most people spend their entire lives trying to figure out the easier way. Which is no way. Namaste, everybody. Good night.